Hi everyone, welcome to my 17th vlog. So today I'm gonna do something a little bit different than what I normally do. I'm gonna do this vlog not just for the viewers but also for myself, and I'm gonna tell you why later. And I think that will also be beneficial for the viewers. That's why I'm doing it. So yeah, I'm also gonna do this in English. Normally I'll do it in Indonesian, but I think that just this time I prefer to do it in English. And so back to the topic. As you can see from the title, I'm gonna talk about why is he the one. And I'm sure that a lot of you have already seen a lot of different kinds of videos which are talking on the same subject. So basically, why is he the one, or the traits of the one, or if he does this then he's probably the one, and so on and so forth. But I'm not gonna do something like that because I'm not a relationship expert. So I'm just gonna share my story, my real life story, and why I think my future husband, my boyfriend, we are engaged, we're gonna get married next year, and why I think that he is the one for me. Because I've also received a lot of questions, and a lot of my friends, they've asked me like, why are you so sure that you want to marry him and be with him for the rest of your life, and why do you marry so young? I don't think I'm young. I'm 24 this year. I'm gonna be 25 next year when I get married, and I think it's just the right age. So yeah, based on these questions, I just want to share why I think that he is the one for me. And to start, I'm gonna tell you a story about me when I was young, when I was a kid. I think I was only about 13 or 12 years old, and I really like this one relationship quote. And the quote says that you come to love not by finding someone perfect, but by seeing an imperfect person perfectly. And I know I was really young. I didn't know exactly why I really liked that quote. I put it in all of my social media at the time. But after time passes by, I've met with a lot of good guys, bad guys that look like good guys that look like bad guys, different kinds of guys. And I've learned that the quote is really true. And I've also learned something else. I've also learned something new. So a few weeks ago, I posted on my Instagram account a picture of his name is Reno, by the way. A picture of Reno and I with a quote with the caption, which was basically the quote that I told you just now, and I added something new. The thing that I think I've learned, and basically the whole point of this vlog. So I think that you come to love by finding someone whose weaknesses you can tolerate and whose strengths can make you stay in love. And that's it. That's the whole point of my video. I'm just gonna tell you why I think that this sentence is basically applicable to everyone. I think it's a very general sentence. I think it should be applicable to everyone because the weaknesses that I can tolerate probably are different than the weaknesses that you can tolerate. So the sentence itself is very general. And okay, so I'm also sure that when I talk about my boyfriend, about Reno, probably some of the girls will say like, I'm never gonna date someone like that, because you see, it's different for everyone. Like for example, Reno does this. He likes to tell me, he likes to say in front of me on purpose that, that girl is cute, that girl is pretty, that girl is hot, she has big boobs, she has big booties, she has such a good body, stuff like that. And I'll be like, whatever, and I just play it along with it because it doesn't matter for me. I mean, it's fine for me, but I'm sure that some of the girls, they get offended by these things. You won't like your boyfriend to say that. And he also likes to curse. Sometimes he also likes to say bad words and say them to me, and I'm sure that's a turn off for a lot of the girls. But I'm just like I don't care. It's fine for me. And he also really likes to play games all the time. So because we are in a long distance relationship, I'm in China and he's in Indonesia. So we always do video call. So every time he's home, and then we'll be on the phone, basically video call. He would just play games all the time. Like even when I talk to him, because he's playing games, so he can't really listen to me, and he would not, he would just miss the points and stuff like that. And yeah, he doesn't really like to talk. He doesn't like to share stories. He doesn't like to tell me about his days. He's just he's basically the opposite of me because I really like telling stories. I love telling stories. So there are certain things that do not match between us. But these things are things that I can still tolerate. I'm still fine with it. I can live with that. But of course, there are things that I cannot tolerate. And a big example is smoking. So I cannot tolerate smoking because I come from a family who doesn't smoke at all. Almost all of my family members, they don't smoke. And I'm sure that a lot of you can tolerate smoking because it's quite common nowadays, but I just can't. So I told him, it was also quite far along in a relationship, we've already talked about a future, and I told him that I cannot live with someone who smokes. So we tried really hard. I'm sure he tried really hard too, and he would stop for a few days, and then he would start smoking again behind my back. I was really heartbroken. I was crying. We tried and we failed again and again and again, like for so many times, and I was really heartbroken. And especially because his friends also said bad things about me. Basically, they were just saying like, Brina is such a conservative girl. Like nowadays everyone smokes, and why would you stop smoking for a girl? Stuff that guys say. So I questioned myself a lot of times whether I was just overreacting. Maybe I can live with someone who smokes, but I always came to the same conclusion that this is something that I cannot tolerate. So after a few heartbreaks, a few tries, he finally stopped, and he has stopped smoking for almost a year now. So I was really grateful. I'm still grateful. I'm very happy. I'm ecstatic because it is something that I really cannot tolerate. And I think just setting the boundaries between what you can tolerate and what you cannot, and also what you should and what you should not tolerate, it's already difficult for us, even for me. So I think it's very good if you can you can separate the two, like you know the boundaries, whether this is something that you can tolerate or you cannot tolerate, because most of the time it's a blur. So yeah, I was really happy. I was really grateful, and thankfully we overcome that one obstacle. And then those are the bad things, like those are the weaknesses that I had to tolerate or I couldn't tolerate. But of course, the strengths have to be strong enough for them to be able to keep you to make you stay in love. And he has a lot of strengths. I really love his mindset. Even before we started dating, I was being a girl. I was teasing him that because at that time, even until now, he doesn't have a car. But normally, in the area where I live in, most of the guys, they come from a quite wealthy family, so they have cars, luxurious cars, like even normal cars. But normally most of the guys, they have cars, because if you want to go on a date or something, then my parents won't allow me to take the motorcycles, for example. So I was teasing him. I was being a girl. So I asked him, because I knew at that time that he had the money to buy a car. I told him that we probably should buy a car because you have me now, la 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 la. I was being a girl, and he told me that his answer actually blew my mind. He said that he was a guy. He's still a guy. He's a guy, and he didn't have basically he didn't have anyone at that time, and also he only needed because he has a motorcycle, right? He only needed to travel to work, which was not far from where he lived. So that's why he bought a motorcycle. And also, he comes from a small city in Indonesia, but he currently lives in Jakarta, which is the capital city of Indonesia. He has relatives in Jakarta, but his main family, his father, mother, and brothers are all back in his hometown. And he doesn't come from a wealthy family once again. So he said that I didn't buy a car. And he also didn't plan to buy a car anytime soon, because he thinks that as a man, as a guy at his age, who's still very young, he should put his money where it's gonna grow. Like he should invest his money. Like he should, instead of buying a car, he bought a house, which is definitely gonna grow in value in the future, right? And a car is not only not an investment, but it's also going to cost a lot of money in the future, because you have to buy petrol, you have to maintain the car, and so on and so forth. And at his age, when he's still young, he thinks that he should put the money where it's gonna grow, And it blew my mind, because at that age in my area, Like probably most of the guys won't think that way. They didn't have that kind of mindset, you know, because their parents can afford all the cars that they want. Their parents can basically afford, they get monthly allowances, and when it's not enough, they just ask for more, and their parents will give more, you know. They didn't have this long-term plan. They didn't think about all of these financial problems at that age, you know. So he was really mature. He is still very mature, and I really love his mindset. And he was only 22 when I met him, 22, 23. He just graduated, and then he already started working. And even now, like, he's only 25. He's only 1 year older than me. He was born in 1993. And he is gonna pay for our wedding, like for the whole wedding. I'm just gonna pay for like the small stuff, like bridesmaid stuff, and the rest he's gonna pay for everything. And it's not a small wedding, it's a big wedding. We're gonna invite, like, you know, there will be like 1,000 guests or something. It's not it's a wedding that won't make my parents be ashamed of, you know. So it's not a very small wedding. It's still quite a big wedding, and in Indonesia weddings are very expensive, I'm telling you. So at this age, he is, you know, he's gonna pay for basically the whole wedding. He already has at that time, you know, when I was asking about the car, he had 2 houses. Now he has 1 because he's buying it just for investments. And yeah, can you imagine at that age? It's quite an achievement for me, where, you know, his parents basically didn't have enough money to support him. He has to support his family most of the time. Well, not most of the time, sometimes, you see. So this kind of mindset really blows my mind away, and he did it again and again and again, because, you know, I just really love the way he thinks and the way he views a lot of things. Like, for example, he doesn't think that women who are like he doesn't think that women are materialistic. He just thinks that women are very reasonable and rational. You should think about the money. When you want to get married, for example, you cannot base your marriage on love, because love is not gonna fit you. You cannot eat love. So of course you have to also think about the financial side of it. And yeah, that's why he thinks that women are not materialistic. They're just being rational, you know. You see? So like his mindset, like, just blew me away, like most of the time, like all the time. And also the way we think about our future, we always have the same views. Like, for example, how are we going to live our life after marriage? How are we going to educate our kids? Our views on kids, our views on how to maintain our relationship with our parents after marriage. A lot of the bigger things in life, we always have the same view, and we don't give in. Because, for example, if I say something about the future, he will right away agree, because it's also what he thinks, not because he's giving in to me. So when you have the same mindset, it's very nice, because then you move on to the same direction, and you will have a future together to work on something that you both agree on. So I think that's really important. And also, we make each other better. He makes me better, I make him better. We both improve as our relationship goes on. So I think it's yeah, there are so many things that match between us, that it overcomes the things that do not match. Like I told you, that's why his strengths can make you stay in love, and his weaknesses are the weaknesses that I can tolerate. And I also tend to focus on the good points, because, like, for example, when I talk to my friends, I always talk about his good points. Like, all of my friends are so bored of, you know, how good Reno is, because most of the time when we fought, we fought only for like at most 2 days, like 1 day, mostly like less than a day. So I didn't even have the time to talk about the problems, and we were good already. So yeah, I talk about the good things, his good points all the time to my friends. And I think it's really good, because that's what represents like our relationship, that it's a good relationship. And I remember very clearly how I talked to my friends about my ex at that time when I was dating him. You know, we weren't really in a good relationship. It was a bad and destructive relationship. So I was saying bad things about him all the time, and my friends, my families, they would all tell me that you shouldn't be with this guy, and I was telling myself I shouldn't be with the guy, you see. So it's totally different than what I have now with him, and I definitely like this version of me because I also hated myself when I was with my ex. Like I hated that version of Brina, you know, because I was saying bad words, I was angry all the time, and yeah, so I can definitely see the difference, and that's why I can get back to my main point, which was I think that why is he the one for me, because I can tolerate his weaknesses and his strengths can make me stay in love with him, and I hope for a long time in the future. And I hope that it also applies to all of you. And I'm sure a lot of you will probably say, girl, you're still so young, you have no idea about love, you haven't, you know, you have no idea, you're not even married yet, and how dare you say this kind of things, how dare you tell us why is he the one, because you have no idea what's coming to you. And I've been with him for 2.5 years, and I'm sure some of you will say that's really short, you have no idea what you're talking about. And that's also one of the main reasons why I'm doing this vlog, because I told you in the beginning, I'm also doing it for myself. So I hope that in the future, when I don't think that he's the one anymore, then I can look back at this video and be reminded of why I chose him in the first place. So if future Brina is watching right now, you're not perfect, you know, so you should definitely not give up and think hard of why you chose him in the first place, because no one's perfect, everyone has their weaknesses, including you. So yeah, basically that's what I want to say, and I hope that they will be helpful for a lot of people out there. And I would really love to hear your stories too. Please post them down in the comment sections, and I would totally love to read each and every one of your stories. Tell me why is he the one for you, or why is he not the one for you, and yeah, basically just share your stories with us, because I'm sure that a lot of us can probably relate to it as well, and I hope a lot of you can relate to my story. And yeah, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I hope to bring you more about relationship if you would love me to. And so actually I will ask Reno to do his version of why is she the one, so we can also see the point of view of the guys instead of just me, you know, as the girl. But don't expect anything from him, because he doesn't like to talk a lot and he doesn't like to share stories and stuff like that. But at least I hope that he can just give us you know, a basic view of why he thinks I'm the one. And I hope that it will also be interesting to see the point of view of the guy and see whether it's similar to my point of view. But he is going to do it in Indonesian, so if you are an English speaking viewer and you would like to also understand what he's saying, you can just leave a comment on that video that I'm going to post probably in the future, and just say that you want me to basically add the subtitles, English subtitles. And if a lot of you ask me for that, then I will certainly do my best to provide an English subtitle. Basically that's it. Can't wait to read your stories too in the comment section, and I hope to see you in my next vlog. Thank you so much. Bye bye.